Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final third. And as you can see, my voice is clearly gotten worse since last time. Sorry about that. Hopefully, by the next video, I'll be okay. But in this video, we'll be talking about our Premier League hot takes. A couple more. We did a previous video on this particular topic, and we'll be doing our predictions for match week 30 later in the video. But before we do, Al, can you reveal the player from the last one?
Yes, the player from the last video was Kevin Doyle. So let us know if you got that in the comments down below, and of course we will review it in the next video. Sorry, we'll do the new quiz at the end of the video.
Again, apologies in advance for my voice, but let's just jump straight into it. I'll let Al do most of the talking for this because obviously I can't do much. Al, the first hot take is Declan Rice is the best player in the Premier League this season.
Oh, that is it's not. I don't think it's that bad of a hot take. If I'm being honest, I think he has been absolutely brilliant this season for Arsenal. I think it's been proven in concern like when he has been injured for Arsenal and not played. You can see the difference in terms of the way they play and how much better they are with him. Um, so yeah, no, I think he's been really, probably been the best player for Arsenal, and obviously Arsenal are doing the best this season. So I'm not surprised that someone has said that. Um, yeah, in terms of midfielders this season, I do think he has probably been the arguably the best midfielder this season. I don't know whether you'd agree with that. Um, I just think, yeah, to be fair, look, obviously I got a bit of a connection with Declan Rice. Obviously played for my club, was captain at my club, won us a trophy. So I obviously got a really good connection, close connection and love for Declan Rice. And yeah, I do think he's been brilliant for Arsenal. I think he's been worth every penny that they spent on him. And yeah, I think he's been brilliant this season. I think he's deservedly so could be Premier League Player of the Season. But it's also I can understand why some people probably disagree with that because there have been some great players as well. New signings have come in and definitely hit the ground running for their clubs. But yeah, I'd like to see what you know, Carl. What you think about it, Carls? What's your opinion?
Like I said, I can't really say too much about it, obviously because of my voice, but it's not a bad shout. But I think there's already another midfielder that has been better than him this season. People might call me biased, but Bruno Fernandes has been absolutely unbelievable for Man United. I think if you put Bruno Fernandes in the Arsenal team, because Bruno Fernandes has proved he can play in multiple different systems and perform to an extremely high level. If you have Bruno Fernandes in the Arsenal team, they would have already gone miles ahead in the title race, and they probably would have already won a Premier League um, in the last couple seasons. Because obviously, I think Odegaard was not that player. So even then, that's a hot take as well. I think that if Bruno
No,
Fernandes played for
yeah,
Arsenal, he would have won the league for them
I
easily.
I agree. I think I agree with that. Obviously they're different kind of players. So when we talk about if Bruno Fernandes was in that Arsenal team, I think yeah, alongside Declan Rice, yeah, it would be unstoppable midfield. To be fair, so yeah, you're definitely right in that sense. I think Arsenal have definitely been lacking that. Like, I mean, they've obviously had Erdegaard, they've just brought in Eze, but I just don't think they've been up to the level that they need in terms of creativity. Then again, I have talked about it before. I do think that is just down to the way Arsenal play why I think they haven't really performed. But yeah, because they obviously, I think they, focus more on the wingers and, cutting it down the line and punting crosses. So yeah, but yeah, Declan Rice, yeah, yeah, maybe he's not the best Premier League player this season, but he's definitely up there for me. I do think he has been one of the best Premier League players this season because he has been brilliant. I mean, if Arsenal win the Premier League, I mean, you could argue it. You could argue it.
Just to also put something out there, these aren't actually our hot takes. I have one hot take in the video, which is my own personal one. But these hot takes aren't us. These are ones we found online and we're
On
reacting
Twitter,
to.
yes.
So yeah, we'll go on to the next one. Is that Gravenberch has the best ball control of any midfield player in the Premier League?
Yeah. Do you know what? I mean, honestly, it's not that bad of a shout to be fair. Because when I watch Gravenberch, yeah, like first thing I want to say is the transformation he's had under Slot is unbelievable. He's gone from, like a player that just never got minutes. Probably never got the spotlight on him. No one ever really said much about him. You know, he was kind of going under the like. You know, he just was never playing, and yeah, and then since Slot has come in, yeah, the turnaround's been unbelievable. Not only has he become a brilliant player, but he has become a massive, massive part to how Liverpool have played, and you know, especially last season. This season, obviously, Liverpool in you know altogether have not been great. Um, but Gravenberg, I don't think has fallen off, if I'm being honest, for them. And last season, that season he had for with Liverpool was unbelievable. He probably was one of the best midfielders last season, and I don't think you can really argue it. The ball control he has, his ability to carry the ball and just get out of tight spaces is probably the best in the league, if I'm being honest. And I know I really highly rate him, and it's kind of good to see because you know obviously when he was at Ajax, he was a really highly rated talent. And then obviously got a move to Bayern Munich, and it never really materialized. Like you know what I mean? Like it never really worked out for him there. And then you know came to Liverpool, and again same thing happened under Klopp. Didn't really get played, kind of got forgotten about a bit. And then and then Slot's come in and completely you know turned it around for him and you know utilized him correctly in the right position. And yeah, not only that, not only the ball control, but yeah, his even defensively he's brilliant and very key player for Liverpool.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't think I can add more to that, so I'll just go on to the next hot take. Pardon me. The next hot take is Cole Palmer, Bukayo Saka, and Phil Foden are all overrated.
Yeah, I agree with it. I completely agree with it. I think you know the problem. Look, it's the English bias, and we've said it so many times. There is so much, you know, added like what's the word? Added, I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of right now, but like pretty much is just the English
The
bias. I feel like any player that comes out from
media
England and
coverage,
just
isn't it?
yeah, the media coverage that comes out for English players. One thing is with that is both obviously it can be a good thing for players, but it can also be a bad thing because I feel like the pressure is also doubled on them, and when they don't perform well for like England per se or in the Premier League, it can affect you know can put more pressure than it would for an international player because you know when it's an international player you know you could see the media just you know kind of giving them a bit more grace saying that you know they got to try to get used to the Premier League this and that, but I feel like when it's an English player they probably do get scrutinized just a bit more. However, at the same time, when it comes to being rated, they probably also get a bit highly, you know, probably a bit overrated if I'm being honest. And I think these three players, especially, are overrated at the moment. Now, don't get me wrong. Did they all have really good seasons in the past? Of course, yes. You know, obviously Cole Palmer first season with Chelsea. Phil Foden's had a good couple of seasons. I mean, he got player of the was it PFA Young Player of the Season before with City, and Saka's. I think Saka did as well. I believe.
He won Player
Yeah,
of the Season.
yeah, that's what I was trying to say. So yeah, they've obviously had moments or seasons where they've been, you know, definitely some of the best players in the league, or especially young players in the league. But at the moment, they have just yeah, just not hit the heights that they've once were at. But yeah, especially Saka, because I feel like Arsenal fans, and I don't want to just aim at Saka, because I just feel like the other two have kind of been forgotten about, kind of, if you know what I mean. I don't feel like there's as much being said about them at the moment. But as we know, because Arsenal are running, you know, racing for the title, of course there's going to be a bit more talk about them, and I feel like the fans do rate Saka way more than they need to, like they should be. Um, yeah, I don't know why he's fallen off. If I'm being honest, whether it's the amount of minutes he's played, because I genuinely can't remember the last time this guy got replaced in a game or anything, or like, you know, it feels like he's playing every single game, and that probably hasn't helped him, you know. And yeah, I do think he is a good player. At the moment, I don't think he's doing great. I'd even say Bowen's much better than him at the moment this season. I don't know if you agree with that, but yeah, I just think Saka at the moment, and same with the other two, they just haven't been great this season.
Again, sorry about that. They haven't been great. Let's be honest. Foden looked good at the beginning of the season. Saka looked like he could do something. Even Cole Palmer had stints. But yeah, they're not at the level that they should be. And especially now that the World Cup is coming up, you would hope that they can perform to a high level. Um, I'm sure they will all get called up to the World Cup squad. But realistically, if it was any other country, they haven't done enough to even get into the um,
Team.
squad, I would say. But I
Yeah.
feel like these are such important players for England, where they performed on in previous tournaments that they've called them up, hoping that they can do it again. But let's go on to the next hot take. Sorry, I don't want to spend too much time on this one, if I'm honest. This one's a bit more of an interesting one. Erling Haaland is not a big game player.
Yeah, I don't know what I think about that. To be fair, I feel like that has been going around for a long time since he's coming into the Premier League. Obviously, just I don't think he's had the goals in the big games in terms of the finals that he's played in. Obviously, he's won a treble with Man City, so you can definitely say he has been a very big player for them. Obviously, in my opinion, I've said since he's come into the Premier League, he has been easily the best Premier League striker of, in since he's come in. That's no doubt. There hasn't really been many great Premier League strikers, to be fair, since he's come in. Not only that, I do think he'll go down in history as one of the better ones. If I'm being honest, if he just keeps it, if he stays at City, for even like if it's like another 4 or 5 like years, I think he would easily end up being probably like top three Prem strikers of all time if he just keeps it up. Because the ruthlessness that this player has is better than like any striker I've ever seen. Now, something that's said a lot about Erling Haaland is that he doesn't get many touches in games, which is not wrong at all. However, when he does, he usually takes advantage of it and converts them. Um, at the moment, he has been on a bit of a goal drought. He hasn't really scored as much as frequently as he did at the start of the season. He was breaking records at the start of the season. They probably looked like he was going to probably go to break his record that he broke when he first came into the league. However, he's kind of fallen off a little. He's been again contributing with goals in terms of assists, but in terms of actually scoring, he hasn't. But let's go back to the hot take that we are on about and whether he is a big game player or not. Um, as much as I really, really rate him, and Carlson knows how much I rate Erling Haaland, unfortunately, I'm going to have to say, yeah, he is not a big game player. Now, whether that is directly his fault, I don't think it is. I think because he is such a good player, when they are in finals, I feel like he gets doubled up on. And, you know, I think that is what kind of like is the reason he doesn't perform as well in the finals. Because you can't say it's to do with, confidence or anything like that, because Erling Haaland is probably one of the most composed strikers in the Premier League, right? And yeah, he there's no it's not a question about confidence, but I just think it is the fact that he is so good that when he's in big games, the opposition really targets him, to keep him out the game, and that's why you just don't see him a lot in the big games. But yeah, no, I do think he's a great player though, but yeah, not a big game player, unfortunately.
Yeah, fair enough. And I mean, it's not a terrible hot take, if we're honest. So, yeah. Sorry about that. Let's move on to the final hot take,
This is yours.
and that is my personal one. And I want to see what Ali thinks about this one. It's that Sani Lamens has been the best signing this season. More, even you might say the most impactful.
I think I'm gonna have to disagree with you. Unfortunately, I don't think it's like he's not been. Obviously, he's been insane and he's been, pretty much revolutionary. One thing I want to say is I feel like the reason, like, there's such a he's being highly rated. Obviously, he's a great, great keeper, and I rate him, and I can understand because he's absolutely transformed that, Man United in terms of that position. But I think there's this thing, like, because you are so used to having Onana and Bayinda, I think that, you know what I mean? Like, Lamens seems like again, I'm not trying to disrespect him at all. He's actually insane, right? And one of the better keepers in the league, 100%. But I do think like, how can I put it? Like, because you're the comparison, you get what I'm saying? Because you're going to be comparing him with what you had before. I feel like that's going to make him seem like he is much better than he is, and that's why you feel that way in terms of him being the signing of the season. But if I'm being honest, there's been players like Cherky, there's been players like Ekatike. Technically, obviously he's kind of fallen off a little recently. But I think there have been Shaka as well. I mean, look at where Sunderland are, how impactful he's been. I mean, look when he was out, injured, and how much that impacted the way Sunderland were playing. Yeah, so I don't know if I put him as signing of the season personally. I think there have been better players. Again, I say Turkey. I think Turkey might be the signing of the season. Um, if City, I know it doesn't look likely at the moment because there's such a massive gap. But if City do ever somehow win the Premier League this season, then I think Turkey has to go down as Premier League signing of the season. I mean, even Donnarumma, he's been brilliant as a goalkeeper. We're talking about goalkeepers as well. Shot stops, the amount of times he's put, saved City in games. So yeah, no offense, Carlos. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this one though.
I actually believe it is true, and I've got a couple points to back it up. Problem is, I can't really speak properly for a bit, so that's a bit of a problem. Um, Ironic, isn't it? No, but on a real note, I think that we talk about how terrible Onana and Bayindir have been, and that there's no doubt about that. We've seen that. We saw at the beginning of the season that we needed a goalkeeper, no matter who it was. It just had to be someone who could catch a ball. Um, you see, the thing is, Lamens does that, but on a more consistent rate than any other goalkeeper in the league as well. And that's very important to take into consideration. You know, he takes he's so calm under pressure. And as the goalkeeper of Manchester United, who people might say we've seen in the Champions League as well this week,
Yeah,
and how a lot of goalkeepers are making mistakes and coming into teams as young goalkeepers and making a lot of mistakes. You look at the Tottenham goalkeeper, some might say the Chelsea goalkeeper as well. They've made a couple of
hundred
mistakes. They're
percent.
young, and they say that they're young. But Lamens is 23. He's really young, but he's come in and absolutely been revolutionary for Man United. Remember, Man United finished 15th last season. Onana was a major part of that, making a lot of mistakes. Now, some might say he wasn't a major reason for that, but I feel like Lamens, sorry, is a major reason why Man United are where they are this season. He's had so many good games. He's made so many big saves. But the thing is, and the thing that's most important of all, we were going to go for Emmy Martinez in the summer, and
Yeah,
that was well noted. And even he was expecting to join even on the last day of the window, but we decided to go for Sani Lamens, and we haven't looked back. And in the sense that he's come in a lot of players, even the players that have been at the club, in Van der Sar, De Gea, and you might even say Onana and Bayinda might say the same thing. The hardest position in world football is Man United goalkeeper, and Sani Lamens has taken it by the scruff of the neck and made it his position. And there is no competition. There's rumors about Onana coming back, but why would you come back? What's the point? Were you going to come and be on
I
the
completely
bench?
forgot about that guy. If I'm being
Do you know
honest.
what I mean? That's what I'm saying. This is how good Sani Lamens has been. We've forgotten about that fraud. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, in my opinion, impact wise, age is you got to take that into account. Coming in from a foreign league with all the pressure that had been on the previous goalkeepers, I feel like he's made the biggest impact and had been the best signing. Because look up first and foremost, United finished 15th last season, and they were nowhere near Europe. Now Man United are one of the favourites for Champions League, and he's been such a big part of that in terms of he helped out in so many of the clean sheets, in so many of the games where we drawn, where we could have lost, in so many of the wins where we could have drawn, and he's been fantastic. And I feel like, yeah, for me, he's been the best signing this season. So whether you guys agree with that, leave that in the comment section below. It is a hot take, and you guys are obviously we are open to you guys hearing your guys' opinions.
yeah,
But that is it from the hot take side of things. But before we go on to the quiz, we're gonna put the predictions up here. So leave your predictions in the comments below. Do you agree with ours? What are yours? Um, Again, also, especially with the hot takes, if you have a hot take as well, leave that in the comment section below.
yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what you guys actually think about that. But Al, before we end the video, can you give us the quiz for the next player?
Yes. So the first fact is he began his senior career in Spain with Levante before moving to England in the mid 2000s. The second fact is early in his Premier League career, he struggled with injuries and consistency, but later became one of the league's more reliable attacking fullbacks. The third fact is he spent 4 seasons at Newcastle United, becoming a fan favourite for his powerful runs down the left side. Now, the fourth fact is in 2011, he moved to Liverpool, where he often competed with players like Fabio Aurelio and later, oh, how am I going to pronounce this? Ali Sissoko? I think I butchered that. for the left back position. And for the fifth and the final fact, the Spanish defender was known for his strength, pace, and attacking overlaps rather than his defensive positioning. So let us know if you know who that is in the comments down below. And of course, I'll reveal him in the next video.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Al.
Yes.
I'm going to end this video as quickly as I possibly can so I can rest my voice. Hopefully, I'll be okay for the next one. Hopefully, we can have the whole team back together as well. But thank you guys for coming in. Please leave a like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you get notified when we upload videos. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys.
Take care.